Why in the world would I give 10% of all our income to church? Stay tuned to find out on Vladimir's vlog. Hey guys, this is Vladimir Nemchinov, living life intentionally. Today I wanted to talk to you about tithe and why do I give 10% to church of all our income. Back in Kazakhstan, the only job I ever worked was paying me $90 a month. It was a part-time job, and I would always give 10% to church, and I would give 20% for other ministries as well. So I was giving 20% of my income. When I got here, I was making $7 something an hour, and that was a lot. It comes up to more than $90 a month, let me tell you that. And I felt like I couldn't afford tithe. I couldn't afford give 10%. But the truth is, I just had different priorities. That's all. It's all a game of priorities, pretty much. And God taught me a lesson. I was without a job for 3 months. After that, I had a deal with God. I'll pay you back everything that I owed you. I kept a track of how much I was making back then. And I'll always give you 10% of what I made. And I did for almost 8 years, a little over 8 years maybe. I did give God 10% of what I made. What is tithe? Why do we pay 10% of our income? Why do we have to? Or do we? I came to believe that tithe, it was actually before the law of Old Testament. It's something that was given out of gratitude. And although there were laws in Old Testament about 10% giving into the temple, New Testament doesn't directly tell us to, but it does teach us to be generous. And nothing teaches better of generosity than that, than giving. To me, giving 10% every paycheck is a way for me to show myself who is in charge and whose money it is. Who do I trust for my well-being and well-being of my family? You see, it's not a matter of giving money to church, because Christianity is not a religion of establishment. It's a faith of a single individual into God and a relationship with that God. And I give because I trust God. I trust His Word. And God has blessed us. Definitely easier to trust Him when everything is great. And He definitely blessed us. Now we can be here and eating lunch on Sunday because we budget for it, because we have money for it. And we don't need to worry about where we're gonna get this money from. Those are my 2 cents on 10% going to church. Another thing, although it is important for us to be a good steward, and for being a good steward you need to know where your money is going. So it's important to know what church does with them, and for church to be accountable to people. But in a big scheme of things, it's not as important because my motivation isn't important. Why do I do that? That's, again, in our faith, individual relationship with God, that's what's important. Why do I give that? In closing, tithe I think is a matter of priorities. If you prioritize that, you will always have money for it. If you don't, then you never will, no matter how much you make or how little you make. And it is where you put your trust. It's about priority and about trust. Who do you trust? If you trust God, then it's not a problem for you to do that. These are my thoughts about giving to God 10% of my income. I'd like to hear, guys, what do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you do that? Do you do any giving? Are you a generous person? Are you consider yourself one? Let me know. Alright, guys.